to our right. He's been tough in the playoffs. He's won 3, lost 1. Wade Stevenson to our right. He's 1-0, picking up the win on Friday. The fans, 16,485 in Maple Leaf Gardens, a sellout stand for the playing of the Canadian national anthem. Pauline McGibbon is here. She's just making an entry directly below us. She is the Lieutenant Governor of the province of Ontario. Just played an unusual abbreviation of the God Save the Queen and Oh Canada, but this was consistent with what the Leafs and other Canadian arenas had done for years, abbreviated versions of both anthems before a game.
That stems back a long time ago, Gene, so they weren't just too sure which national anthem they wanted to. There was quite a controversy about it. And I guess they said to take the middle of the road, play them both short. Mr. McLeish right there, who did it all the other night, 38 seconds, put the game into overtime, and 2:50 gone into it, give the game winner.
Roya Salming, who's celebrating his 26th birthday tonight. He's only had 2 shots in the 3 games. His line mate Ian Turnbull tops on the Leafs with 13. For the first period, Leafs and Flyers, let's go Flyers, let's go Don Earl.
Thank you, Gene Hart. It'll be Bobby Clark between Lonsbury left and Leach right, facing off for the Flyers against Darryl Sittler. He's flanked by Dave Williams and Dave Tiger Williams and Lanny McDonald. Clark with the puck, skated off by Mike Pellick, and it's controlled by McDonald back in his own zone. Tries to lift it ahead on the right side to Sittler, but it gets by everybody. And icing is waved off as Bob Daly quickly moves it up to Leach on the right wing. Dumps it shallow into the Leaf zone, but it rolls all the way in on Palmetier, and it's tied up for a face-off deep in the Toronto zone.
The Flyers' original coach and now the general manager, Keith Allen, is seated directly across us, and in the center is Flyers president and owner Ed Snyder, and to his right, Mrs. Keith Allen Joyce, and to her right is Mrs. Ed Snyder, as directly below us on the far side, Matt DiPaolo looks on with Flyers coach Fred Shore from behind the Philadelphia bench.
Flyers now come with McLeish, Lonsbury, and Barber playing the left side as Lonsbury has moved up on the front line. George Ferguson on the face-off to the left of Palmetier. Toronto controls as McLeish forechecks on Turnbull behind the net. Puck cleared by everyone. This time it will be icing against the Leafs as Lapointe is the first man back to touch up.
Perhaps, Terry, an early indication that the Leafs are going back to the victory style in Philadelphia as opposed to trying to skate out here.
Wayne Stevenson right there, affectionately called Professor, turning a whale of a game the other night. Coming up here, we're down 2 games. Steph come in and give a stalwart performance for us. And at the other end, young Mike Palmetier, his first NHL competition ever, and he's acquitted himself very, very well, much to our chagrin.
Red Kelly, one of the rare players to make the All-Star team as both a forward and a defenseman at Detroit and here in Toronto in the glory years.
Off the face-off to the right of the Toronto net. Cleared again the length of the ice, but this time icing is waved off as the linesman felt that Lapointe had a play on it. Lapointe broke it up by Earl Thompson. Puck covered right at the short side post by Stevenson as he hugs the post to hold on and tie up play.
Well, the fans here, despite the 2 victories in Philadelphia, are not happy with the throw it out and hope style.
The Leafs are going into that style again, as you mentioned earlier. Watch Moose DuPont. McKinney will come into your top of your screen right there. Moose sees him coming, looking for a loose puck, and he gives him a little shot in. Not this game, McKinney. Nobody's fooling around our goal piece at all tonight.
McLeish against Ferguson to the right of Stevenson. On the face-off, Dornhofer taps it back for Bladen. He's tied down by Jim McKinney. Can't move up the ice with it. Now McLeish tries. Blocked off and tied up and taken down by Ferguson. Ferguson blocked off by Barber. Gets a second try and fires on Stevenson right along the ice. He kicks it aside for Joe Watson. Watson is tied up by McKinney. Puck comes loose for Barber, and he'll move it out. Barber breaking with Dornhofer. Doherty across the line. Takes it. Oh, the shot taken away, and a good defensive move by Earl Thompson. Back comes Salming. Tried to hit McKinney breaking at center ice. Barber to Dornhofer, hops over his stick. Barber gets it back again. Goes to the left side. Skates away from McKinney. Fakes. Tries to get across the line. Stopped there by Salming. Salmi cuts deep into his own zone against the forechecking of Kindrachuk. Clears it aimlessly back to center. But likewise, Bridgman puts it on the stick of Salmi. And now it's Turnbull up the left side of center. Blocked off at the line by Bladen, but we have an offside called against Toronto.
All right, we are getting a little change. Ferguson was out on the previous shift, and now Ashby only took a seldom turn the other night, is on the line with Neely and Boutet as Bernie Perrant, now growing a beard back on. Applauds from the Flyers player bench far side.
Dorney had a good chance to make this play, and Dorney wasn't sure if he wanted to pass it across to Billy Barber or get his shot away. Didn't have time to do either one. Good back check by number 12, took the puck away on him.
Number 12 is Errol Thompson, who hooked the stick on Dornhofer. Number 21, of course, Salming, who slid along the ice to poke the puck free. Now it's Daly firing from center ice off the Leafs backboard. Palmateer sees Kindrachuk busting in and takes no chances, ties it up for face-off in the circle to his left.
Flyers have done some juggling in the 3 games, but the Leafs have stayed consistently with their 3 lines.
We've got to do just what Orest Kindrachuk did right there, Jim. We've got to dump that puck in tonight. They're standing up their blue line, 4 men across. We've got to dump it in and have 2 men on it very quickly.
Okay, it's Ashby against Kindrachuk. Back to Daly, short side save. Palmateer off the wrist shot by the big count. The puck iced by Pelech, but it goes on Stevenson, which takes off the icing. Now it's Jim Watson. Up to Bridgman, gets by him, controlled by Carlisle. Stopped at the Flyers line by Bridgman, who tried to go back to Jim Watson, who had started out of the zone. Watson crosses to Daly on the right. Tried to go back to Kindrachuk, picked up by Bridgman. Bridgman gets the drive away as he was onside. His shot is wide. Kept in by Daly, but picked off by Carlisle. Now kept in by Kindrachuk. Straight down the pipe off the waffle board of Palmateer. Neely goes behind his own net. Ducks under a check by Selesky. Puck picked up by Carlisle as Ashby breaks. Pass goes to Neely instead. Blocked off the line. No offside is called. A drive by Neely is stopped short side on the stick side of Stevenson as Jim Watson is almost low bridge by Pat Boutet. And Watson glares at him. Selesky with a puck at center. Tries to dump it in for Clark, but the pass was behind him, and Clark is offside. We've got 16:57 to go in the first period, and there's no score.
Introducing the Sports Coupe for 77. And its name is Granada, with 4-speed overdrive, European touches, special suspension, and all at a Granada price. The Sports Coupe for 77, and its name is Granada.
When America needed better wheels, we Ford dealers made the difference.
Back here at Maple Leaf Gardens, Bobby Clark out with Lonsbury and Leach against Sittler, McDonald, and Williams. No score, first 3:03 of the game.
Willard Norris, the linesman, drops the puck. Puck controlled by Lonsbury just outside the Leafs line. Dumps it to the backboard. Palmateer lets it go for Turnbull. He's behind the Toronto net. Turnbull with Clark waiting out front. Hits Sittler coming to center ice. Puck goes aimlessly to the right wing boards. Dumped back into the Toronto zone shallow by Rick Lapointe. Turnbull scoots behind his own net. Tries the right wing side. Kept in by Lonsbury. His Leach trying to get a shot away. Runs right into the pick, who is Dave Tiger Williams, as the puck is flipped ahead from McDonald. Deflected to the Flyers backboard. Sittler spins off of DuPont. Gets the puck to McDonald. Challenged by Clark in the Flyers left wing corner. Feed comes out to Lonsbury. Can't clear out. Is Sittler to Dave Williams. Williams backhands it to the Flyers backboard, but DuPont is there. DuPont up to Lonsbury. Kept in by Salmi. To Sittler. The drive kicked out by Stevenson. And Leach clears to center ice. Turnbull dumps it back in again. Delay offside against the Leafs is not called as Lapointe gets the puck back to the Toronto backboard. Flyers change on the go. Here's Salming from behind his own net. Up to Williams on the left wing at center. Goes to the right wing corner in the Flyers zone. Joe Watson quickly up to McLeish at center on the left wing. McLeish dumped by Carlisle to Dornhofer. Dornhofer tries to go back to Barber, but it was tipped off the end of his stick by Carlisle. Dornhofer runs smack dab into Darryl Sittler. Puck in the Toronto zone along the Flyers' right wing, now controlled by Pelech as he lifts it to his right wing boards across the way. Joe Watson can't move it, and it's controlled now by Williams inside the Toronto zone. Flips it ahead, knocked down by the glove hand of Bladen at the red line. He dumps right back in again to the left wing corner. Carlisle on it. No score if you've just joined us. First period action from Toronto. McKenny lifts it out of his own zone. Along the near side in the Flyers zone, Bladen goes behind his own net to Watson. Joe Watson up to Barber. Barber lets it go. It will die before it hits the goal line. Icing is waved off. Carlisle led up. He's got it behind his own net. The rookie Randy Carlyle, who's had a fine series for Toronto. Puck lifted to center ice along the far wing by McKenny, but now controlled by Rick McLeish. McLeish back passes to Bill Barber. Barber waits for Dornhofer to get back on side, tries to penetrate, checked off, the puck spins away from McKenny. Carlyle sneaks ahead of him, takes a bump from Dornhofer, comes Barber in the slot. They clog it up, but here comes McKenny out of his own zone along the right wing at center. McKenny across the Flyers line. Left face-off circle. One-hander, we've got a Flyer penalty coming up. Bruce Hood called holding against the Flyers. The first power play opportunity of tonight's game goes to Toronto. 14:21 to go in the period. There's no score.
Grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's. It's ice cream to go. Grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's. It's ice cream to go. Twin Pops, Twirl Cups, Fudge Bars, King Cones, Cream Sticks, Superstars.
And only pennies a pop.
Grabbing Abbott's, it's ice cream to go.
Grabbing Abbott's.
Tommy Bladen off for 2 minutes for holding on Jim McKenny, who made a nice play to come into our end zone. McKenny was well out of the play, and Tommy, instead of letting him go, hung on to him. And referee Bruce Hood called Tommy 2 minutes, so the Leafs get the first power play advantage in this game, Don.
And of course, this has been the big problem for the Flyers in all 3 games in the first period, is giving up power play opportunities, which the Leafs capitalized on. Selesky gets the loose puck in the Flyers zone, skates it through center, has it knocked off his stick, but picked up by Daly. Daly rags the puck, cuts back toward his own blue line. Cuts back deep inside the zone again, comes to the right wing. Off the right wing boards, back to center ice, gets by Selesky, controlled by Turnbull in the Toronto zone. Goes right side for Salming. Lone forechecker in for the Flyers is Selesky. Daly gets a stick on it, hits Selesky with a pass, but it bounces away from him. McKenny back passes to Turnbull. Kindrachuk now on. Presses Turnbull, but Salming lifts it down the right wing behind the net to the Toronto left wing, but it's cleared out of the zone by Selesky. 1:15 left on Bladen's penalty. McKenny on the right wing at center ice, blocked off by Selesky. Gets the puck back to Jim Watson. Watson from the left to Daly on the right, and he goes the length of the ice, forcing Palmateer to kick it out. Flyers change as Lonsbury comes on with Moose DuPont and Joe Watson. And Bobby Clark. Here comes McDonald across the Flyers line, back to Sittler. The drive deflected wide by Joe Watson. Now it's McDonald behind the Flyers net to Sittler, back to McDonald, left wing corner. Out in the slot, picked off by Clark. Clark breaks with Lonsbury. 40 seconds left on the Bladen penalty. Lonsbury's going to penetrate. Fires wide of Palmateer. As skating behind Palmateer had moved out was Ross Lonsbury. Clark gets the puck back in his own zone to Joe Watson on the left. He hits the referee Bruce Hood, who couldn't get out of the way in time. And the Leafs, instead of having to go deep for it, pick it up at center ice. Now it's Turnbull. Turnbull sends Sittler across. The drive. Short side save Stevenson. DuPont clears, but not out. Salming at the right point. Goes down to the right face-off circle to Sittler. Picked off by Lonsbury. Back to McLeish, and he's through center ice. McLeish stops at the Toronto line, goes back to Joe Watson on the Flyers left wing at center. Lifts it back into the Toronto zone as Bladen is out. And the loose puck is picked up behind the Leafs net by Salming. The Flyers back at full strength. Now it's Sittler out of his own zone to center ice on the right wing to Salming. Salming goes left side for Pelech inside the Flyers line. Throws it in on Stevenson. He covers it with a glove hand to tie up play. With 12:01 to go in the first period, the Flyers have survived the power play advantage, and it's no score.
I came to Midas to get Midasized, and I got the shock of my life. The right shock for my car, absolutely free.
Until April 30th, when you buy 3 of our LifeGuard or SuperGuard or SpringGuard shocks, whichever's right for your car, we'll give you the 4th shock absolutely free.
And if anything ever goes wrong, Midas guarantees to replace their shocks free for as long as you own your car.
So get Midasized before April 30th and get the shock of your life.
Absolutely free.
Good penalty killing by our crew out there, Don. Right here's where Ross Lonsbury runs into Mike Palmateer, going behind him, just sort of nudging him a bit with his stick. Not intentional at all, just sort of dragging his stick behind him, but Palmateer wouldn't like that at all.
I think Salming was forced him into Palmateer as he tried to check him. Now back to live action. Bob Kelly lifting the puck out to center ice right on the stick of Carlyle. Now Bladen goes for it right at the red line. Knocked away from him by Carlisle. Back to retrieve it is Paul Holmgren. Holmgren forced deep behind the net by Ashby. Gets the puck off to Joe Watson. Back to Tom Bladen. Bladen starts out on the right. Pulls up short against the tight checking of Don Ashby. Broken up by Ashby, but picked up by Joe Watson. And he lifts it down the left wing corner into the Toronto zone as Kinderchuk comes off. Bridgman comes on. Holmgren goes in for the loose puck along with Bob Kelly. Carlisle and Boutet in there. Kelly gets it. Kelly out of the left wing corner. Look out. Rolls it in front. Gets it back again. Loose puck. Holmgren shot. Stopped by Palmatier on a turnaround pivot in the slot. Kept in by Bladen. The drive through a screen is knocked down by Pelican. Ashby ices the puck for Toronto. Good pressure by the Flyers right there.
Flyer fans, 10th anniversary edition of the yearbook is still available with that great first-year nostalgia section. The price, $2 at the Spectrum or $2.50 via mail to Champion Publications. Post Office Box 2429, Philadelphia, the zip 19147. As Wayne Thomas on the far side looks on. Paul Holmgren didn't get a lot of mustard on that spin-around shot as the Leafs caused their own damage by failing to clear in front.
Prime example of good forechecking by Paul Holmgren, Bob Kelly, and Mel Bridgman on that play. We're going to do that all night to the Leafs.
On the face-off as the Flyers now go with McLeish, Dornhofer, and Barber. McLeish goes for the loose puck behind the Toronto net, joined by Dornhofer. We got a four-man pileup, and McLeish pointing out that Salming tied up the puck with a glove hand, but Bruce Hood allows it, and the face-off will be to Palmatier's left.
So far, we haven't seen Stan Weir, who was taking regular shifts through the first three games. He's used Ashby now with Ferguson and Sittler, maybe saving Weir for the second half of the game. As goaltender Wayne Thomas looks on, Mike Palmateer set in the net.
Face-off control by the Leafs. Turnbull sets up behind his own net. Tries to spring Ferguson loose. It'll be icing Toronto as it misses the Flyers' goal crease. DuPont the first one there. And it comes back to the Toronto zone for another face-off.
Next WCA radio game from the Spectrum this Tuesday, April 19th at 7:50 with a pregame show. And the Flyers meet the Leafs in Game 5 in their best-of-7 set. The next TV game is next Thursday night on Channel 29, WTAF-TV and WCAU Radio, April 21 at 8 when the Flyers meet the Leafs in Game 6 of this best-of-7 set.
McLeish against Ferguson again to the left of Palmatier. Gets a shot on goal as McLeish. Routine save as Palmatier moves it aside for Turnbull. McLeish stays within reasonable distance of the Toronto defenseman, but Turnbull lifts it back to the Flyers' blue line. Daly goes to the left wing boards, carries into the Toronto zone. And it's Turnbull lifting it ahead now, intercepted by Barber. Barber can't get a shot away, and Ferguson steals it right back up to McKinney. Through center ice, across the Flyers line, right wing. Rolls it ahead, but Stevenson steers it to the backboard. Ferguson broken up by Daly, and it's Barber moving it out. Barber on the left wing gets to center ice, hits the red line and drives at long range. Good skate save, Palmatier. Rebounds to Thompson, intercepted by Barber, has trouble finding the handle. Down goes Salming. Barber now realizes he can't control, but does the next best thing, forces a face-off to the right of Mike Palmatier.
Scott Garland, the 24-year-old Regina sophomore, on the far side with a cast, and he's one of the half-dozen Leafs who are out with injuries, along with Claire Alexander and Brian Glennie, and Tracy Pratt is back. He's on the bench next to Borja Salming, who's celebrating, as we said, birthday number 26 today. Pratt wearing a face mask could be used if needed.
Face off to the right of the Toronto net. Clark now on with Lonsbury and Leach. Sittler on the draw with Clark, and Carlisle moves it to center ice. Dumped is Tom Bladen, but back to cover up the loose puck as Stevenson started out was Jim Watson. Tried to hit Leach coming back down the near wing, but it got by him as Pellick now tries to hit McDonald, and it gets by him. And it's icing against Toronto once more.
Leafs appear tight rather than working up as they have done so successfully in 3 games. They look like they're going for the home run bomb all the time, trying to find that man free up the slaughter on the right wing to get out on top again.
At a meeting last night, Gene, and Coach Fred Sherrill mentioned that he still wants our team to take it to the Leafs. He wants to play the 2-1 system, meaning that he wants to send 2 men in deep on the puck and a 3rd man back in the slot. He'll be the man back to pick up the trailer or else in the slot for the shot on net. So it shows that Freddie's not going to tighten up at all. He's going to stay loose and keep taking it to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
To the right of the Toronto net, Sittler against Clark. Willie Norris, the linesman. They both waved out. I guess the reason for most of these wave outs, Terry, is those sticks are going to be flushed to the ice.
It's what you call linesman discretional call right by them.
On the face-off, Lonsbury lifts the backhander in, and Palmatier kicks it out for Carlisle. Quickly up to center ice. Gets by Darrell Sittler, and that's what was not happening in games 1 and 2. Now it's Clark sending Leach across. Cuts in the off wing. Centering pass, no one home, and it goes to the near side. Picked off by Dave Tiger Williams. Just clears to center ice. The backhander by Blade, knocked down by Carlisle. Now it's Lonsbury on the left wing. Lonsbury runs into heavy traffic. Back passes to Clark, but offside was Leach. And with 9:07 to go in the first period, there's no score.
Schaefer's consistently great taste starts with country pure water, flowing down to the Schaefer Brewery in Lehigh Valley. Here, only country pure water is good enough to be Croizon brewed. That's brewing twice. For over 130 years, it's given every Schaefer a smooth, crisp, consistently great taste. Schaefer consistency. Put it to the test. You'll find your last one tastes as good as your first.
Most uneventful first period, 9:07 remaining, and Terry, both clubs now in the clutch part of the playoffs where no one wants to make a mistake.
Face-off outside the Toronto blue line has Clark once more matched up against Darrell Sittler. On the face-off, Clark tries to penetrate, stopped at the line by Dave Williams. A drive from outside by Lonsbury is gloved by Palmatier, and Carlisle controls behind his own net. Goes to the right side for Sittler, trying to break out. He's dumped off the puck by Joe Watson. A good hip check. DuPont lifts it back into the right wing corner. Tiger Williams bumped behind the net by Bobby Clark. And now here's Carlisle quickly up to Sittler at center ice. Sittler across the line, right wing past McDonald. Drives, short side save, a follow-up shot. 2 quick saves by Stevenson as the Leafs threaten right there. Joe Watson clears by everyone as Carlisle tried to block it along the boards. It will die before it's icing, and Pelech quickly winds it around near side for Tiger Williams. Up to Sittler, gets by him, the length of the ice, but there'll be no icing. Kindrachuk deep in his own zone. Off the stick of Bridgman to center. Lifted back in again by Boutet. Stevenson sets up DuPont. To Joe Watson on the left wing, starting out. The veteran defenseman hits the red line, goes down to the right side. Behind the Leafs net to the left wing corner. Bridgman checked off the play. Kindrachuk, the trailer, gets a stick on it, but here comes Turnbull with Ashby and Boutet. The long drive has Stevenson going down. The puck rose up and over, hit the glass behind him. Bridgman, wing to wing for Selesky at center. To Jim Watson. Offside was Bridgman on the left wing.
2 things. We thought the Leafs were playing cat and mouse, waiting for the Flyers to make a mistake, and they did and got burned 3-on-2, and Tiger Williams then blew the opportunity when he missed the empty net on the rebound.
Good play by Tiger Williams with Paul Holmgren draped all over top of him. He's still got a good backhand. Steph just got his right pad out, kicked it off with his toe. That's a good second effort by Williams. Nice back checking by Paul Holmgren, and a key save by Wayne Stevens to keep this game at 0-0.
Okay, it's Jim Watson lifting the backhander halfway into the zone, but Boya Salmon clears it off his right wing boards, the length of the ice. It's going to be icing Toronto right there.
Oh, there's your whole hockey game right there. They're going to dump out. They're going to play cozy, trying to draw the Flyers in like a counterpuncher, wait for Philadelphia to make a mistake and hope they can get the big break.
Mel Bridgman back on the screen right now, and a welcome addition back to our lineup after getting rid of that Charlie horse that he had. He's still not full tilt, but he gives us added muscle in our lineup, which we can use right now against this club. As we mentioned, Gene, the Toronto club should be a tired club, and the more you bump them, a lot more tired they're going to get as the series goes on.
This is why Red Kelly has, I think, understandably got to go with more fresh changes. Bob Kelly scoops the puck loose to Kindrachuk, tries to turn the corner, but it's picked off by Salming as down he goes, cutting the corner a bit too sharply. Lifts the puck up to center ice on the right wing. Hops by Boutet. Kindrachuk goes for the loose puck, as does Selesky. Now it's Boutet and Jim Watson. Watson goes down, slowing Boutet down, but Ashby's there, and we're going to get a penalty, and a rather chippy one, I feel, against Jim Watson. 7:02 to go in the first period. There's no score.
Come on down and see the bright new things at A&P.
Our prices are competitive, and our sales are always exciting.
Our butchers bring you the finest meat they can.
So come on down and see. We're the big red team at A&P.
This week's special in your A&P meat department, ground beef, 5-pound roll, just 69 cents a pound.
back here, and it's Boutet who gets the penalty, and they called it tripping, and he was in front of Jimmy Watson, and the only way we could perhaps see that again, and look, I don't know where that one came from.
You got to have those breaks in playoff hockey, Gene, and right now, Jimmy Watson loses his balance right here. He's on his knees. Boutet is going around and moving ahead of him. Right now, he goes down.
Right there.
The stick was there, but Boutet in no way was playing it towards Jimmy at all. In fact, you mentioned just tried to hit him, but we said we'll take the tripping and take the power play right now.
Flyers 3 for 10 against the Leafs.
You get fooled now and again, Terry, and there's one where we were fooled. We thought sure it was against Jimmy Watson and seemed rather difficult to understand. This is even more difficult to understand. Flyers control on the right wing at center. It's Leach lifting it to the left wing side. McLeish can't keep it in. Leach does. Leach along the left wing boards leaves it for Clark. Clark, left face-off circle. McLeish tries to go back to Barber. Hops high in the air. Clark goes back to the left point. Barber through a screen. Tipped wide by Palmatier. Knocked down with the glove hand of Clark. Right face-off circle. Daly to McLeish.
All right.
That was in. Scores. The first one looked as though it was in. But then Clark made sure the second time that it was in. I guess they're going to give it to Clark because the red light did not go in when McLeish fired in.
Now that one hit the post off McLeish on the near side, trickled out in front, and Clark was there for the rebound to bang it home. Clark's first on the playoffs, and McLeish will get the assist as Bobby set it up originally. So for the first time in the series, the Flyers lead during regulation play, and they get their first goal of the first period. Daly to McLeish, and Clark gets the second shot.
Don, I thought it was showed on you, but we'll take the goal no matter what. Clark gives a 1-0 lead on a power play goal. 6:32 remaining in the first period.
Well, I still say that shot by McLeish was in. Well, with the new nets they've got in the tight twine, and we talked about that before the game the other night, that there could be a situation where a puck could go in and bounce out and you wouldn't even know it. Here's the announcement. Clark, the goal scorer.
All right, Clark is 14th in his playoff career, and they gave Leach the assist. I don't see how. That should be from Daly and McLeish.
The Flyers, their fourth power play goal, but here's a breakaway. Thompson, great save, Stevenson. He stole a goal right there. And the puck is clear, but we're going to have a penalty called on the Flyers. I think it's on Jim Watson.
Anytime, Gina, you can outrace Moose DuPont or Jimmy Watson, you deserve it. So 6:12 remaining in the first period. Flyers 1, Toronto nothing.
Girard Bank is always finding ways to help you reach your financial goals. The Big G account is one of the best. You get a complete package of great banking services just for keeping $200 in a Big G 5% savings account. Sure, you can bounce around to every bank in town, but Girard's Big G account can't be beat. For no charge checking, plus all the banking services you'll probably ever need, get the Big G account at Girard. Other banks just don't have it.
All right, DuPont in the playoffs, his fourth penalty minute. Second Flyer penalty in the Leafs' second power play.
Right there, Errol Thompson outraces Moose DuPont and Jimmy Watson. And Coach Shiro tells you anytime you take a penalty to prevent a goal, it's a good penalty. So that was not bad right there. But Steph still had to come up with a key save on that. Thompson got a good shot away, and Steph very literally just followed the play all the way in, kicked it out with his pad.
Super save right there. Okay, Sittler on the face-off with Kindrachuk to the right of Stevenson, goes to the left wing side. Joe Watson there first, and he lifts it the length of the ice. Flyers lead at 1-0, and Bobby Clark's goal, a fourth power play goal of the series for the Flyers, and for Clark, his first goal of the series. Now it's Dave Tiger Williams through center ice on the left wing, goes wide of Stevenson to the right wing corner. Joe Watson can't clear out. The backhander by Salming goes behind the net for McDonald. Bladen bumps him, comes back to the left point. Turnbull looks, fires wide short side, hops over the glass and out of play, and we'll have a face-off outside the Flyers line.
Tomorrow morning when you get up, turn to WCAU Radio News 1210. 1210 will get you up and keep you up on everything. News, sports, weather, traffic, business. It's what you need to know when you need to know it. And to know it, WCAU Radio News 1210, your total news and information station.
Okay, back to the action again. The Leafs on a power play as Williams has no shot, so goes down the left wing boards behind the net. Sittler ties up Joe Watson, but the puck comes loose for Bladen. He lifts by Turnbull to center ice, but covering up behind Turnbull was Borje Salming, who came over from the right side. Salming up to center ice left wing for Williams. Williams across the Flyers line. He's bumped by Tom Bladen. Sittler goes back to the left point man, but Turnbull wasn't there. And it's again Salming covering up. Forechecking with the Flyers, Bill Barbers. We're down to less than a minute, 52 seconds left on Moose DuPont's penalty. Turnbull, right wing pass for McDonald. In for Sittler behind the Flyers net. Sittler left wing corner. Slowed down and tied up by Bladen. Puck comes loose. McDonald and Dornhofer bump. McDonald behind Stevenson. Out to Salming. Salming at the right point. Holds. And now we have a penalty coming up as Williams and Bladen. Now Jim Watson moves in.
I think it's going to be for Stevenson and Williams going at it. And heaven forbid, if that's the case, Jimmy Watson might get a third man in.
Depending on what Bruce Hood calls originally, that you're right, Gene. If it was Stevenson and Tiger Williams in on it, Jimmy possibly could be called third man in. But in a situation such, there's Williams still now trying to get after Wayne Stevenson. Jimmy Watson, knowing the golden rule in hockey, nobody gets near your goaltender whatsoever, no matter what the situation or what the case is. So Jimmy Watson, no matter what happens, very wisely, the best play possible, moved in to take Tiger Williams away from Wayne Stevenson. This all started in front of the net, Gene. Right there, Wayne Stevenson reaches out, slaps Williams right across the face with his glove, and then Williams retaliated, and Jimmy Watson, taking no chances whatsoever, moved in to help Wayne out. Wayne's moving Tiger Williams out of his crease in front of it while they're setting up for the shots. The fans aren't very happy with this call, so right now we have Williams in the penalty box. And at our end of this street we have, is that Moose DuPont in there?
Well, he's in there from his original penalty. Let's see. I think the Flyers are going to have to bump somebody in since it is on Wayne, but it hasn't gone up on the board yet. There it is. Stevenson picks up two. So the only delay was waiting for a Flyer to be designated to go in. It looks like it's going to be Dornhofer. All right, Williams. Interference on Williams. And 2 minutes on Stevenson for roughing. For Wayne, his first penalties of the playoff. Williams now has 17 total minutes. And the penalties are now 3 of the 5 in the game called to Philadelphia. And it's very important now because the Flyers have to defend 4 against 3 for 32 seconds. That means Salming will be out there with Turnbull, McDonald, and Sittler with an opportunity to tie. As the Flyers got their goal, Clark from McLeish and Leach at 13:28 with Butetov serving a tripping call.
Daryl Sittler standing beside linesman Matt Pavlich while Bobby Clark is over talking to referee Bruce Hood. And the crowd, I think, Gene, are still sticking to your call that they maybe insist that Jimmy Watson third man in, but thankfully and luckily no such call. So 4 against 3 for 32 seconds till Moose comes out of the penalty box. Then it'll be 4-on-4.
Okay, face off to the left of Stevenson as Clark again faces Daryl Sittler. A pair of pretty super centers right there as Matt Pavlich is insisting the sticks get flush in the ice or otherwise we'll wave you out. Drawn straight back to Salming. To McDonald, challenged by Clark. Clark breaks him up and clears the puck the length of the ice. Palmatier slides out to the left side and feeds it ahead for Turnbull starting out. Turnbull back passes for Sittler. He's got clear ice on the right side. Goes back to Turnbull. Cuts inside of Daly, and Daly's going to be going off. It's going to be a trip, although he never really did trip him. But Daly will be going off, and of course his penalty can't start for another 10 seconds.
Well, the Flyers are in deep trouble now. They will start the Daly penalty as soon as DuPont's is over.
Turnbull made a move right at the blue line to get around big Count Daly. The Count sort of shoved one of those big long legs of his out, got a piece of Turnbull with it, and at the same time give him a shove with his hand. Turnbull didn't go fully down, but he went down just enough that referee Bruce Hood calls another tripping penalty against Count Daly. So as we mentioned earlier, 10 seconds to go in Moose DuPont's penalty. Minute and 38 for Stevenson and Tiger Williams, and counts won't start until Moose comes out.
All right, we've had 5 penalties and a goal in the last 3 minutes exactly.
DuPont is signaling to the Flyers bench across the way on to Joe Watson and Bobby Clark, who are on the ice along with Tom Bladen. Face off top of the near circle to our left, which is to the right of Wayne Stevenson as he sets himself for action. Clark against Sittler. DuPont will be back in 10 seconds. That's when Daly's penalty will start. Salming at the left point position. Holds. Goes right side for McDonald. Hop across the blue line, and that'll kill off valuable seconds. DuPont is back. Now it's McDonald across the line. to Turnbull on the right side. Broken up by Clark, and Clark clears down the right wing boards. Now DuPont can't come out until the next stoppage, apparently. Here's Salming to Sittler right wing across the Flyers line. Holds up in the right wing corner, back to Salming at the right point. Back to Sittler, kick save, and a good one by Stevenson. Clark couldn't clear out as he went sprawling, trying to sweep it out to center ice. Sittler out the right wing boards. Left face-off circle, Turnbull. Back to Sittler, to Salming at the right face-off circle. In the slot, Bladen clears, but right on the stick of Sittler, stopped by Stevenson, right in the chest protector. And now it's Turnbull holding along the right wing board. Challenged by Joe Watson, and then Joe backs off, comes to Salming left side, through a screen, tip-in attempt by McDonald. Karams back to Turnbull at the right point. Toronto's best pressure of the game. Blocked by Joe Watson off the stick of Turnbull and out of play. DuPont can come back.
Flyers doing an excellent job, but I think that the Leafs are tight as they're not freewheeling as they did with their power plays in the first couple of games, as they did on Friday night when Turnbull banged that one in the first period to make it 2-0. They're hesitating, and this is the thing that has created problems for the Flyers on their advantages. The hesitation. Remember, they have the extra man out there, and if you continue to move the puck wisely, you've got to find the open man. But they're holding and hesitating, allowing the Flyers' box to close up. All right, in 27 seconds, we'll have Williams back and Dornhofer serving Stevenson's penalty. In 59 seconds, Daly will be back.
Off the face-off, leaves control at the Flyers line. Salming almost moved it across the line, goes right side to Turnbull. Tip and attempt, Stevenson, a super save. Cleared out of the slot by Kindrachuk, and he controls behind his own net. Looks for an opening and clears between Turnbull and Salming back to the Toronto backboard. The best penalty killing of the series for the Flyers right here. Salming out of his own zone through center. Williams and Dornhofer are back. The Leafs are at full strength now. Thompson spun off the puck by Joe Watson, and Dornhofer takes a heavy bump from Dave Tiger Williams, but gets the clearing puck all the way back to the Toronto backboard. And out of his own zone comes Salming. Goes right side for Jim McKinney. Gets by Jim Watson. McKinney, right wing corner, in the slot, bounces off the stick of Ferguson. McLeese trying to move it out. He can't do it, but Dornhofer does. And now Daly is out. The Flyers are back full. Salming with a pass. Pumped backwards off his feet by Jim Watson, but clears it behind the Flyers net. Now it's DuPont. Can't clear out. Salming shot blocked by McLeese in the slot. Loose puck. Daly runs smack into McKinney and takes him down. Here comes Thompson. Short side save by Stevenson. Joe Watson the rebound. Lifts it out the stick of McKinney to center ice. Salming blocked off, but we have an offside pass called against the Flyers. Face off just outside the Flyers' blue line.
Good gracious. The Leafs put on heat as Borje Salming goes off, and as each game progresses, he gets wearier and wearier as the demands upon him to double shift, and he's upset. Perhaps he's happier that the Swedish team, for which he played this past fall, defeated Team Canada the other night. 1:46 remaining. That's, of course, in that World Tournament to start in Vienna in May. 1:46 remaining in the first period. The Flyers have put themselves in the heat with 4 of the game's 6 penalties, and the Leafs have had 3 power play opportunities, but the Flyers have the 1 goal while Boutet was off for Toronto.
Flyers 1 for 1 in that department. They made that one pay off. Loose puck picked up by Boutet. Rifles it to the Flyers' left wing corner. Stevenson sets up Daly. Quickly winds it up to Selesky in the left wing, breaking out to center with Bridgman. Bridgman sends Leach across. Leach on the backhander. Taken off the shot by Mike Pellick as he takes him into the backboard. Loose puck now retrieved by Ashby. Kept in the zone, however, but Bridgman has it tapped away from him to center ice. Daly back to Bridgman, to Selesky across the line. He's hooked, can't get his shot off, and we have a Toronto penalty coming up, and it's going to be for a hook on Mike Pellick, I believe. And so the Flyers will get their second power play opportunity of tonight's game.
Well, Mike Pellick on the playoffs, his first penalty, and the Leafs' third of the 7 called in the first period by Bruce Hood. As the old cliche, both teams like piano wire out there, taut, and they're not relaxed, and they're making false moves. They're allowing the offense to pressure, and thus they have to cover up with penalties. That time Selesky penetrated. We had the hook, and it's going to be Carlisle going off, not Pellick. And for Carlisle in the playoffs, he has 18 minutes to lead both teams in that department. Flyers' second power play opportunity with 1:16 left in the period, which in essence means their power play is cut almost in half.
And the Flyers offensively will be going with Clark between McLeish and Leach. Daly right point, Barber left point. To the left of Palmateer, controlled by Salming on the faceoff. Salming can't clear out, kept in by Barber. Now cleared the length of the ice by Earl Thompson. Stevenson sets it up behind his own net. Now feeds to Daly, circling in the far corner left. The big count to center ice with 1 minute left in period number 1. Sends McLeish across the line to Clark in the left wing corner to Leach. Leach tries to throw it out in front, gets it behind the Toronto net. To the right wing corner comes the rifle. Reg Leach tries to back pass, but it's cleared to center ice by Ian Turnbull. Rolls by Barber, shallow in the Flyer zone as he circles to head back up ice to center ice. 35 seconds left in the period. Clark across the line, leaves it for Daly. Daly tries to hit Leach, cutting through the left face-off circle, but it's cleared back to center ice. 28 seconds left, almost stolen by Thompson. McLeish overskates, picked up by Daly. To Barber across the line. Here comes Dornhofer, tried to deflect it in on Palmateer. He had that post guarded, and it's tied up for a face-off as we get a whistle. The net did come partially up off its pins.
They're unhappy because Salming took a bump as he covered the puck. Bob, the Count Daly, British Columbia, who played in this city with the Toronto Marlboros, was a big favorite, drafted by Vancouver, and then in the major trade to Philadelphia for Larry Goodenough and Jack McIllargy, and affectionately known as the Count because of his habit of wearing his overcoat European style over the shoulders rather than through the sleeves. Not that he puts his body through the sleeves, I guess just the arms. All right, we've got 16 seconds remaining in the period. 1 minute on the Carlisle penalty, 1-0 Philadelphia.
Of course, that penalty will spill over into the second period. Clark off the left wing boards. Shot blocked in front, picked off now by McDonald. Long lead pass intended for Sittler, and there's nothing he could do about it as Clark had him covered, and it's Kindrachuk from behind the Flyers net. Drives at long range at the buzzer, deflected into the crowd by Palmateer at the buzzer, and after the first period of play, the score is the Flyers 1, Toronto 0.
Got some bad news for you, Pop.
Yeah, what?
They're selling sirloin around the corner for 75 cents.
Damn B, must be plain B.
No, Pop, 100% sirloin.
75 cents?
Yeah, Pop, at Gino's.
The Sirloin or Gino's thick and juicy quarter-pound burger that's 100% sirloin. It's a burger even a butcher could love.
What's good today, Frank?
Try the sirloiner.
For us having a very nice 1-0 lead early going in the game, Clarkie, and a lot of nice little plus things are happening to us. Our power play is starting to click. Our penalty killing is starting to kill them off. And just everything, the little things are starting to gel early in this game are going for us. And one of the nicest things we did, Clarkie, was you helped us get that first goal early in the game and finally work from a lead against this club.
Well, it's a little change after the first three, Chris. We were down 2-0 before we hardly get in the darn game. But, you know, the goal, McLeish had an empty net at the goalpost. You don't miss those too often. It come right back out to Leach and then he give her to me. But I think tonight the team decided we're going to throw it in. It was successful for us the last game we come in here and trying to put pressure on. They're going with 4 defensemen. Keep throwing it in and making them work. And you see, they took a couple penalties tonight and, you know, hooking, tripping, and what we have been taking because we haven't been going that hard, and now we're going hard and they're taking the penalty. So, you know, there's a few things we're doing a little better.
You answered the question, Clarkie, that we were asking ourselves up in the booth. Ricky's shot did hit the post and come right back out.
Come right off the goalpost and hit Reggie in the leg, and the goaltender come out and he just sat right there. The net was empty. A gift.
Nice to see number 16 stand there to put it in the open anyway. Clark, you made a statement about a week ago. You said that Daryl Sittler is right now the finest centerman in hockey. And to me, coming from, in my estimation, the finest center in hockey, that's quite a compliment. You've been paired off against Daryl the whole series. Red Kelly's had him out there against you. The kind of a hockey player that you're against. When any player such as yours gives it to Daryl Sittler, he deserves it.
Well, I think there's nothing that Sittler doesn't do very well, exceptionally well. I mean, he checks, he hits. He's a strong face-off man. He scores umpteen goals and consistently doing this well. And I think that he's not on that great a hockey team. I mean, he plays with some great people, but their team isn't nearly the team that our hockey team is either. So I think, you know, in my own estimation, he probably was the top centerman in the league this year, but it can change every year. I mean, this year he probably was the top centerman in hockey.
Clarkie, thanks for that quick goal lead for us right now. I'll let you go and join the fellas for a minute. Just go and add to it for the rest of us, will you? Clarkie, thanks, man, for joining us. Well, back upstairs to the gondola to Gene Hart.
Back here in the gondola, Gene Hart along with Don Earl, 1-0 Philadelphia as Bobby and Terry Crisp informed. The one goal came at 13:28. Clark, although it looked, as we had a chance to see the replay about 2 or 3 times, as if McLeish's first shot hit the pipe along the ice against the back triangle of the net and came out to Clark. But academic, as Clarkie was accorded the goal from Leach and McLeish at 13:28 while Boutet was serving a penalty. and it was the first of a series of penalties and goals from the 12:58 to the 15:38 mark. We had 5 penalties, 3 to Philadelphia, 1 goal in that 3.5-minute spell. And the Leafs on a long occasion had a 4 skaters to 3 edge, had some good chances on Wayne Stevenson, but the Flyers, putting on their best penalty killing effort of the playoff series, held them at bay. They still have 44 seconds remaining on a penalty call to the Leafs at the end of the first period to Randy Carlyle, so they'll start the second period with a man advantage, leading 1-0 again. The penalties in the first period, there were 7, 4 to Philadelphia. The Leafs had their most productive shot period of the playoffs, 12, and it was only the second period of 10 in which they outshot the Flyers. The margin was 12-10. So at the end of the first period, Flyers 1, Leafs no score, and our intermission activities will continue after this. Leaf Gardens 1-0 Philadelphia. Look through the hockey encyclopedia, and you look under A, you'll come across the name of Alan Keith Courtney, played with the Detroit Red Wings in the mid-40s. Defenseman, played in 1 playoff series, and also is given the nickname of Bingo. He's the Flyers' former coach and current general manager. I'd like to know where that bingo came from.
I don't know where I did myself, Gene. I wasn't much of a hitter, I'll tell you that. I got it as a kid. I don't know how I picked it up, but there was an old hockey player in Toronto here, as a matter of fact, by the name of Bingo Campman, and I guess when you're kids, you take on the names of some of the players in the National Hockey League, and somehow I ended up with the name Bingo.
As you came up here and said, gee, it's good for a change to break out on top.
Yes, it is. This has been a very tough series for us, and this is the first game we've been able to break out on top, and it feels good for a change to have them chase us rather than us chasing them.
Both clubs look a little shaky, but I think the Leafs are the tighter of the two. I think they have more at stake.
Well, I think so, too. They know that if we can win tonight's game, it's a 2 out of 3 series again. And, of course, we've got the home ice advantage, which up to this point hasn't been very meaningful. But I'd like to have the home ice advantage for the last 3 games. So I think, as you say, it has been a little bit of a tight period. But I was particularly pleased with Wayne Stevenson. I thought he really kept us in there in a couple of fine saves.
All right, now. The Leafs were very, very potent in the first 3 games. Sittler and McDonald. McDonald has been kept pretty well in touch by a guy named Ross Lonsbury.
Yes, Ross, I think, is probably one of the finest checkers in the league. And when he gets the job to do of checking the men, generally they don't have too many scoring opportunities. And he's done a fine job in Lanny McDonald. But he's always dangerous, Lanny, and he shoots the puck well, so that you have to play him very tight. And I hope Ross can continue to do the fine job he has.
We'll be back with Keith Allen after this.
We find it's the dealer that makes the difference, Tom.
I'm Tom Brookshire at your local Ford dealer. What's so different about selling Fords?
Look, I want to sell everyone a Ford. It's my business. But I'll take the time to really help people find the right Ford for their needs. And I give the best buy going to help them swing it financially.
Okay, let's take a look at one of those Fords.
Some wagon makers like Chevrolet have cut down their full-size wagons, making them narrower, shorter, so they hold less. But Ford offers the full-size wagon that's kept its size, LTD.
Ford LTD holds more here, has more hip and shoulder room for 6 people.
Plus an extra half-ton rated towing capacity over Chevrolet. Ford LTD wagon holds more, hauls more than Chevrolet, but is priced about the same.
I like working on cars. I'm good at it. I'm Ford factory trained.
I got over 20,000 parts. Whatever your Ford needs, I have. If I don't, I'll get it. Pronto.
Good, honest buys backed by quality service and parts. That's where your Ford dealer makes the difference.
A consistently great-tasting beer starts with Country Pure Water, heading for the Schaefer Brewery in Lehigh Valley. Here, only Country Pure Water is good enough to be Croissant brewed. That's brewing twice. For over 130 years, it's given every Schaefer a smooth, crisp, consistently great taste. Schaefer consistency. Put it to the test. You'll find your last one tastes as good as your first.
Back here at the Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens, Gene Hart with Don Earl and Terry Crisp, our intermission guest, Flyers general manager Keith Allen. It seems incredible that this is the 10th year.
Yes, it does, Gene. This went very quickly. I hope the next 10 don't go too fast, because we're all getting a little older, you know. But it's been a great 10 years, and it's been great fun, and we've been pretty successful, so I just hope we can do as well the next 10 as we have this.
I'm going to have some fun with you. I remember that first year they said, Keith Allen's Flyers Club never get caught up ice. They're always back there checking, and your answer was?
We weren't fast enough to get up the ice, Gene. I think that I don't think we forechecked all year, but I tell you, we played well in our own end, as you recall, and we had lots of practice doing it because we were never out of it.
You know what I recall? One thing you had going for you. Every time the Flyers went into a building for the first time, you would start the hometown boy, Bernie Braun in Montreal. Yeah. And you recall the first game here, Doug Favell. The Flyers were outshot something like 47-15. He won the game 2-1.
He played tremendous, and we always used to have a little fun. That was never in doubt. Remember after? But no, both of them played well. Dougie here in Toronto, and Bernie came up always big in Montreal. So it was a fun year.
I'm reminiscing to a very bad time the following year in Detroit, 9-1 Red Wings, and I think that was really the low point of the franchise.
Yeah, we'd been beaten kind of badly a number of times that year. I recall Chicago beat us 12-0, I think, at home, and Red Berenson scored 6 on us in our home ice, and then we walked into Detroit and really got bombed 9-1, and it could have been much worse. And I think that was really probably the low point of our career in the hockey. And there was a lot of talking on the way home. I remember on the plane, but and at the end of that year we come on and won. I think we were undefeated for something like 15 games or something like that, or only lost 1 in 15 to finally make the playoffs and salvage the year somewhat. But it was a struggle that year.
Of course, I remember coming in. Do you recall that night when the wheels weren't down, or they didn't think they were down with a plane landing at the airport, and they said, well, we're going to go in because we can't stay up here?
I remember we had Britt Selby and Bernie Perron, of course. I think were the two worst players we had that first year, and they were white, and we were all a little scared, I think, because I know we went by the tower, and as you say, they told us the wheels weren't down, so we were all a little nervous about that entrance.
Not nervous anymore, are you, tonight?
Yes, I have to admit that I was a little nervous before the game, and still am, really, because I have a lot of respect for this Toronto team, and you know, they're a good young hockey club just starting to really mature, I think, so that we're going to have to play well from here on in this series, beat them.
Our guest has been Keith Allen, the Flyers general manager, and Keith, for being with us, the following gifts. First intermission guests receive a gift from First.
And it came on a power play goal from Bobby Clark, from Rick McLeish and Reg Leach. And they gave Leach an assist. We're wondering if Bob Daly may ultimately get the change, because he was the one that fed through from the top of the right face-off circle. Unless Leach might have gotten a piece of it around that goal crease action prior to Clark finally jamming it in. Bruce Hood, tonight's referee, Matt Pavlich and Willie Norris, the linesman. And for second period play-by-play, let's go Flyers and let's go Gene Hart.
All right, Terry, was there any word downstairs about whether Rick McLeish's shot was in or not?
You call it, Gene, and hit the post, Clark, he said. Come right off the post onto his stick.
Well, I think the replay may show different, but we'll check it out later on.
All right, we go Clark, McLeish, along with Daly, Bladen, and Barber, as the Flyers have 44 seconds remaining on the Carlisle penalty, moving to our left. Out there is Ferguson, along with Salming, Errol Thompson, and Turnbull. Now Clark at the leaf line, through to Barber. Can't get past Ferguson. Now Clark in the corner with Salming, takes the puck away. Holds back to the far point. Bladen goes on the forehand with a drive. Palmateer the save, and slapping at it was Daly. Almost banged it home to the far side. Cleared around the net to the near side by Bladen. Ferguson is there. Slashes but not out. Daly in front of drive. Well wide to the net to the far point on the rebound. Tom Bladen has it. He lets one go wide. Back to the near point. Billy Barber sets it up with the skate. Holds. Lets it go. And it's knocked down in front by Turnbull off the deflection from Ferguson. And away comes Thompson at center ice. Tries to get through Barber. Can't as Clark takes it away. Carlisle is out. Team's at full strength as Turnbull breaks off that pass intended for Daly and sends it back to Ferguson at center ice. Past McLeish at the leaf line. The Flyer line is shot in on Stevenson. The save made, it kicked in front. Clayton can't find it, and it's steered smartly to the near side by Kindrachuk. Skates to the near side. Double team. Gets it past McKenny smartly to McLeish. Rink-wide pass behind Daly. Caroms back into the Flyer zone. McKenny over the line. Taken away by Jimmy Watson and away to McLeish at center to Daly. By himself, fires in the blue line wide of goaltender Palmateer. Deep rebound up on the right wing for the Leafs as they bring Sittler out. Can't handle the puck at the Flyer line. Slapped back at center. Carlisle makes a rush through. They've got Tiger Williams on the far side. Carlisle's pass taken by Moose DuPont. Comes with Kindrachuk over the line. Wants to get past McKenny along the goal line. Hits the side of the net. Follows it right out in front. And nobody's there on the far point, and it slides to center ice. Back on the near side, Jimmy Watson up and over center, lifts it through, past Pellick, knocked down and carried out by Tiger Williams on the off wing. Skated off by Dornhofer, who plays it through to Lonsbury. Poke check back into the neutral zone by Carlisle, and then cleared smartly down the right wing boards by DuPont behind the Leaf net. As Philadelphia now has out there Lonsbury with Selesky and Bridgman. Now it's up at center ice. Sittler through over the line to Williams. Can't get past DuPont. The puck loose to the left of Stevenson. Bridgman digs it out. Winds it around far side. Selesky forecheck. Loses to Williams. Now sounding right out in front. Make that Sittler to McDonald, who couldn't handle it. And it comes back now to Lonsbury. Over the line past Pellick. Now joined in front by Selesky. In. A drive. Wide to the long side. Back to the near point. Joe Watson dumps it in on the net. Deflects off Sittler's stick. He picks it up on his own left wing. Past Kelly at center. Up ice for Williams. At the Leaf line. Over the line. Now McDonald, a shot on Stevenson. It's in front. And he steered it behind with utter confidence despite the Leafs coming at him. Away on the right wing at center ice is Selesky from Bridgman. Fires on the deflection to the left of Palmateer. Rebounds out in front. Knocked down behind by Kelly. He's bumped into by Selesky, who's rammed down hard by Tiger Williams. Carlisle loses the puck to Bridgman along the near side. To the left wing corner for Selesky. In front, Bridgman's shot. Smothered by Turnbull and cleared up to McDonald. And he looks for Sittler, but goes rink wide looking for Williams, who picks it up at center ice. At the flyer line, goes down behind Stevenson with the puck. Joe Watson around near side for Bob Kelly. Has trouble with it. Is run over by Sittler, who falls, but Kelly gets the puck to center ice. We played 3:20 into a much higher paced second period. No scoring here. The Flyers lead it 1-0. Joe Watson on the far side. Fails to clear it out. Sittler at the left point. Bounces one wide of Stevenson, who just saw it at the last center. Blayton bumped off by Neely in his own corner. Out to the point to Turnbull. Slapper block. Kept in on the near side. Going right in is Aspie. A shot. Blocked over the top of the net by Blayton. Up along the right wing. Selesky hawked by Neely. Has the puck deflect past him. Down along the far wing. Into the Leaf zone. Here comes Salming roaring up at center ice. At the flyer line. Over the line with Boutet. A drive. Off the top of the net out in front. And cleared by Joe Watson. But not out. Lanny McDonald dumps it around behind the net. Far corner to Neely. Neely's got a man in front. Boutet. There's McDonald. Score.
Lanny McDonald, right, Johnny on the spot on that one, Don. Put them around the ledge. Our defenseman couldn't get it. It fell off the ledge behind our net just in time for the Leaf player to pick that puck up. Lanny McDonald, he's done this whole series now, cruising in that slot all alone. Picked it up, walked in, eyeball to eyeball with Wayne Stevenson. And let a good quick wrist shot go that beat Steph. Right there, our defenseman Joey Watson moved over to take the player out. I think Steph might have just got a bit of a piece of that puck, but not enough to stop it on McDonald's shot. Joey Watson moved the man out of the puck was intended for. Lanny McDonald left all alone, puts a high shot over Wayne Stevenson's glove hand to tie this game at 1-1.
And for Lanny McDonald, his 5th goal of the playoffs, along with 6 assists, gives him 11 points to place him number 2 on the Leafs roster in most points. And it comes at 4:03, a brand new hockey game tied at 1.
There's from Medicine Hat. He's got to be the odds-on choice for the second team right wing behind LaFleur. Well, you can't leave him alone like that, and there's a glaring error. Here come the Leafs again. They're going to explode now, Terry, and the Flyers are just going to have to prepare for a tornado and see if they can hold off until they get this equilibrium back. Clark in front of his own net. Left wings it through on the near side for Jimmy Watson. Bad pass at center looking for Leach and dumped right back into the Flyer zone. Wayne Stevenson well out of his net as it looked like Weir taking his first ship might have had a break. But it's played out on the far side by Lonsbury. Pass Boutet up on the right wing. At center. Leach back across the line. Lonsbury stopped. Following it up is Jimmy Watson. Through into the zone. It's spun off by Carlisle as the puck rolls to the right of Palmateer. Carlisle is dragged down. Neely lets it pass Clark along the far boards to the left of Palmateer. Mike Pellick up at center ice, and it's picked on a 2-on-1 break. Weir with Boutet. Weir in. He's going to have Boutet right there. And great play by Jimmy Watson to break up a protecting centering pass. Jimmy Watson saved the day as the Leafs had a 2-on-1. Now Ross Lonsbury flips it to center ice. With it is Leach. Gives it away to Weir. Weir checked at his own line, but gets past Clark and away to Neely over the line. He's tripped up, and we're going to have another Flyer penalty. Tripped up by Neely, and we have 14:46 remaining second period. The game tied at 1.
What kind of chicken does Geno's have?
That's almost a duplicate penalty, the one that the Count took on Turnbull in the first period. Right there, doesn't look like he touched him at all. He had that leg stuck out there. It looked like Neely went to jump around him to avoid him. Lost his footing and just took a header around it, but nonetheless, referee Bruce Hood calls 2 minutes for tripping on Count Daly.
Storm warnings back out to the point to Turnbull. tries a shot. It's deflected in front to Thompson. His shot cut down by Bailey Barber, and away comes McLeish. Up at center on the left wing boards and drives it down the ice. The Leafs like to go with the Ferguson, McKenny, Thompson line on the first power play shift and then bring out Sittler, McDonald, and Williams when the penalty-killing team may be a bit fatigued. Salming up at center, bumps it in behind Stevenson, leaves it there for DuPont, gives it away to McKenny on the far wing. Back behind the net, Joe Watson has it blocked off by Ferguson, gets it up to McLeish, who wings it down the ice, almost like a highlight player taking a carom off the side wall. Now, Boyer Salming swings out to the right of his net, starts stick handling up to his own line. With Ferguson on his left, he's got Thompson on the near side. Dumps it in, looking for Thompson right out in front. Played by Stevenson in front of the net by the goal line to keep it away from the rebounding and flying Errol Thompson.
Flying is the word for it, because he was really going at top speed as he came around, and Stevenson very alertly tied it up. The Honorable Pauline McGibbon, the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, occupying her seat right down below us. Her third trip to the Gardens this year to watch Leafs hockey.
These boards in this arena right now, Donna, they got that new Plastilite boarding on it, and the puck will take some funny hops off this board. No matter what angle it's shot in, it won't come out at a true angle a lot of times, so you got to be awful careful when you're playing it off the boards.
Back to Salming at the right point to McDonald, top of the circle. He'll let it go, and Stevenson short side save with the glove as Williams was in front trying to get a piece.
What is it about Wayne Stevenson, Terry? The guy looks as cool as a cucumber in the face of all sorts of pressure that's been thrown at him here in this period.
Just the type of character is, you don't rattle Steph at all.
Back to Salming again straight away. He'll let one go. Score!
Boyer Salming drilled that one off the face-off, back to him on the blue line. He moved over to the slot in the middle on the blue line. Had a good slap shot go that Wayne Stevenson never saw going blind whatsoever. Didn't know it was by him until it was in the net. So the Leafs capitalize on a penalty to Bob Daly and go ahead 2-1 in this game on a shot from the blue line by Boyer Salming. Good slap shot right there. Tiger Williams heading for the net. Tommy Bladen trying to move him out. Puck right by his step before he has a chance to see it. Lots of time to wind up. Nobody interfering with him whatsoever. There it goes right there. A high rising shot over the glove side of Wayne Stevenson.
You'll recall last year on his birthday, he scored on a breakaway against Bernie Parent in the game the Leafs won here 5-4.
So once again, power plays have put us behind the 8 ball in the early going in this game.
And for Toronto, overall, on the power play, that's number 10. Their 10th power play goal of Stanley Cup play this year. Salming from McDonald and Sittler, and Toronto leads.
Up, Jimmy Watson through to Clark, tips it on the near side. We said there was going to be a storm. Well, the Flyers are going to have to try to weather it. Down behind Stevenson, Bob Dalio's out there with Jimmy Watson, and they have Holmgren with Lonsbury and Clark, and the Flyers ice it, and that's just what the call will be. If Rowell gets there first, he doesn't, or he does. Yes, said Matt Pavlich, it may be an offside.
It's offside as Willard Norris stops at the top of the far circle right. Darryl Sittler claiming that Carlisle got there first, so it should be an icing call, which would be in the center of the face-off circle, but it'll be dropped at the top of the circle as the Flyers send out Clark between Lonsbury and Holmgren, and Joe Watson and Moose DuPont defensively. Ashby on the draw for Toronto.
All right, we have 6:36 gone, and the Flyers have been kept pretty well away from Palmateer. And the advantage they worked so well to achieve in the first period is gone, and once again they find themselves looking up. All right, Ashby out there with Neely and Boutet, Carlisle with Pelech. The Flyers go Leach along with Selesky and Kindrachuk. At the point, Pelech with a drive. Stevenson, the glove save. Goes around, far side to Joe Watson, and away DuPont to Kindrachuk at center. Has trouble with it. Now controls again, lifts it into the near corner of the Leaf zone to the right of Palmateer. Pelech in there with Leach. They overrun, centering pass. Right out in front to DuPont. Goes to shoot. There he is. Save. As he was pulled down from behind Leach trying to get the rebound. DuPont had Palmateer hung up the drives. He made a great move past Pelech, who made the big save. Out in front again. Deflected to Joe Watson at the point. Shot. Knocked down by Selesky into the near corner. Tries to go behind the net. Taken off by Carlisle. Winds it around to the far point. DuPont keeps it back into the near corner. Only one there is Boutet. He'll try to get rid of it. Bumped by Selesky. Ashby tries to get it out and fails. As Kindrachuk along the near side gets a standoff and a stoppage of play.
This line has placed good pressure on the Leafs throughout this series, especially in the last couple of games, Terry.
Don Selesky and Pat Boutette having a bit of a shoving match down there, and Moose DuPont clearing out Neely out of the way. Good play by Moose DuPont twice to keep that puck in and was coming around those boards fast. Moose got over, kept it in, and then Don Selesky reversed the play and made some good plays to keep it in. Gene mentioned he had Palmetier hung out to dry and just couldn't get full wood on that one to put us back in this game and tie it at 2-2.
You got to wish maybe on that particular circumstance that Moose shot from the other side.
I think Darryl Sittler has just set a Leafs playoff scoring record with a 16th point, beating a mark set by Tim Horton in 62. That was just flashed up. Jimmy Watson at the left point, closing in at the circle. Drive, and there was nobody there except the mass of bodies deflected to the near side. Bladen a drive, knocked down by Turnbull and iced. And racing after it is Billy Barber. Ferguson tries to get there first, but the Flyer will, and no, they don't. And it's waved off as finally they collided in the corner, and Ferguson did touch up, and now we've got Barber hurt in the corner. And let's see whether they called an icing, but whatever it is, yes, it's going to be an icing, finally.
Billy Barber limping on that play right there, and that's the fault of the linesman right there. Willard Norris, Billy touched that puck when he initially got into the corner. Willard Norris did not catch it quick enough. Then all he saw was a standoff between number 10 for the Leafs, George Ferguson. And right there is Darryl Sittler. As you said, he did tie a Maple Leaf playoff record with 16 points, as you mentioned. Tim Horton had said before, total points in the playoffs.
Ferguson, Thompson out with McKenny, and they have Turnbull with Salming. McLeish, Barber, Dornhofer back to Bladen at the point. Goes down past Dornhofer, around the horn to the near side to McKenny, and he clears it to center ice. Back to the Flyer line, Tom Bladen challenged by Ferguson. Gets it to Barber, who has trouble at his skates. Almost loses it, then plays up ice in the center, looking for Dornhofer. Picked off by Thompson, who gives it right away to Bladen. Up and over center. Lifts it into the Leaf zone, wide of Palmetier. McKenny's first there for Toronto, wide around his net. Up on the far wing to Thompson. He gives it away. Now McKenny is tied up by Barber. They fight for it along the far boards. McKenny in there, Turnbull in there, along with Bladen and Barber, and the four of them get a standoff. As we have 11:43 remaining second period, 2-1 Toronto.
Now, while it's still hurting, hear this.
Other Flyers hierarchy, watching the game from down below, Joe Cadillac, our publicity director, press relations director, along with Mike Nicolak, Flyers assistant coach. Mike doesn't look too happy right now, Gene.
Sittler, McDonald, and Williams out with Turnbull and Salming. The Flyers go Lonsbury, Leach, and Clark with Daly and DuPont. They try to get it back to Daly, who committed himself for a Leaf break, and the puck slides to center, where Clark plays back to DuPont, who lifts it into the far corner of the Leaf zone. It bounces for Tiger Williams, avoids Clark's check, and comes out on the left wing. He's got McDonald deep up on his left. Over the line, wants to get past Daly. Does. Down into the right wing corner, centering pass. Clark knocks it away from McDonald and straight at it from the left wing circle, and Stevenson the save as McDonald almost capitalized. Now Daly back up at center ice. The Leafs, if they ever lost their confidence in the game, have gotten it back now as they got those 2 goals in 2:13, but they ice it now, and we get DuPont touching up in a face-off deep in the Toronto end.
This is playoff time, and of course that 10th anniversary edition of the Flyers Yearbook still available, but not too many copies left. So if you want to get in on the collector's item of the year and maybe of the Flyers' career thus far, do so soon. It's just chock full of Flyers pictures, especially that nostalgia section of the Flyers' early years. Your price, $2 here at the Spectrum. For mail order, send $2.50 to Champion Publications. They're at Box 2429, Philadelphia 19147.
Bridgman, Kelly, and Holmgren out with Bladen and Joe Watson against Ashby with Boutette and Neely, Turnbull, and Salming. Turnbull around his own right wing for Boutette. It skips past Joe Watson, and here comes Turnbull with Ashby 2-on-1. Turnbull a shot well wide. It was blocked by Bladen. Out to the far point, picked off by Bridgman up to Kelly. Kelly can't get past Boutette. Takes him, comes back the other way. He'll get one. Go off the upper right shoulder of Stevenson into the far corner. Battling for it are 3 Flyers and 2 Leafs, and we'll get a stoppage of play.
Ashby on 2 successive forays into that Flyers left wing corner. First Holmgren barreled into him, that time Bladen, and he's slow to get to his feet.
Backup goaltender tonight for the Flyers, Bernie Perron, and Bernie informed me tonight that he has a new name by the younger bunch of our defensive corps. They call him Pappy because of the gray in his beard that he's got. He's got that salt and pepper, so he's a young defense corps have nicknamed Bernie Pappy.
He's distinguished.
Ashby, Boutette, Neely out there with Turnbull and Salming. The Flyers still go Bridgman with Holmgren and Kelly, Bladen and Joe Watson. Now on comes Ferguson as Ashby was out there to take the draw. Bladen loses the puck. Here comes Ferguson. He's in at the circle. Shot wide as he made a play past both Bladen and Joe Watson. Up ice comes Bridgman. Can't get past Salming. Holes looks for help. Tipped off the stick of Holmgren down into the corner right of Palmatier. Boutet. Fans trying to get rid of it. It goes behind the net to Bridgman. He's pulled down as the puck loose and on the near side. Dumped up by Boutet to Ferguson away to Salming with Neely over the line. He's going to get past Joe Watson. A backhander. Hit the post. Rebound over the top of the net by Neely. And down behind the net, the Flyers got a break there as Stevenson wants to tie it up. And we get a stoppage of play as the Leafs almost made it 3-1. 9:53 remaining second period. 2-1 Toronto.
Investment management.
Back here in Toronto, Pat Boreas Salming on that last shift. A tremendous bit of pressure as he came up with that backhander. He shoots that backhander almost as good as he does that forehand.
He's dangerous all over the ice. He made some nice moves on Joey Watson to get that backhand away. And there's the advantage of having a good one right there, catching Steph a little off balance, put it off the post, but no danger done, no damage.
On the near side, Barber can't get past Carlisle. Now Jimmy Watson has trouble with it, and the Leafs have really come on since they've gotten the 2 goals. And again, they're skating and tying the Flyers up as we get a draw along the near side just inside the Philadelphia blue line.
Don Ashby, who took 2 successive solid bumps in the Flyers' left wing defensive corner across the way to our right, has gone to the Leafs dressing room, so those 2 checks, one by Holmgren, one by Bladen, must have taken their toll.
Ferguson back to the near point. Carlisle through a screen, chopped down. Billy Barber along his near wing. Tries to lift up and does to McLeish, who comes with Dornhofer. 2-on-3. McLeish wants to get past Carlisle. He's tripped up, and the puck is taken off by the Leafs. They clear up here to Carlisle and away to Ferguson at center. He's got Thompson breaking on the left. Over the line. Dropped past to Ferguson. Got a man in front. And it was tipped away at the last minute from McKenny, smartly by the Flyer defenses. Here comes Dornhofer back at center. At the Leaf line, down to the right wing corner. Jimmy Watson centers. Cleared, but not out to the point. Billy Barber is shot. Knocked down in front. They scramble. Now Billy Barber has it along the near side. Tries to get it in front to McLeish. He's shot wide as Dornhofer still in that corner laying on the goaltender.
No good mother.
The top of the head with a stick. Palmatier just plucked Dornhofer. Now we've got Williams, Pelech, and DuPont. As Pelech on the far side, and all Palmatier did was whack Dornhofer on the back of the head with a stick.
That's all. He leveled Dorney right out completely. Dorney is standing in the crease. Palmatier come around and just brought the stick right back over the back of Dorney's head. Dorney hasn't moved since Palmatier hit him. And Moose DuPont, visibly upset and rightfully so, wants another piece of Pelech. Moose has had enough. And still looking at Dorney, he hasn't moved. Matt DiPaolo out on the ice, checking over Dorney right now, and Palmatier, I don't care how he's explaining right now. There's no way you explain away the whack that he gave Dorney over the head.
One must wonder if Palmatier now would become #1 target.
Mr. Palmatier should become #1 target after the throat he just gave Dorney over the head. Moose still wanting a piece of Pelech out there. Pelech heading for the penalty box. The Leaf bench right there with Tiger Williams 1 foot over the bench, but you can bet that he won't get past our bench if Hound Kelly is standing up. We'll have 8:56 remaining in the second period. Toronto 2, Flyers 1.
Come on down and see the...
There's the action back in front of the net. Right now, Dorney's getting up. The puck will go through. Now watch Palmatier bring the stick. He sees Dorney. Dorney's stick comes up and catches him. Here he gets it. Watch this one. It's coming down. Clunk. Hey, I mean, when you get nailed, you get nailed. And the referee is standing right there looking at it. I'm not sure what they're... Moose right now wants a piece of Tiger Williams, who come off the bench, as I mentioned earlier. Moose was skating back. Now Mel Bridgman out there wants a piece of Williams.
I think DuPont's gone for the night.
Moose coming out of the penalty box. Skating back, you look like he had something wrong with his equipment, was going to our bench, and Williams was skating through. Now Moose wants a piece of Palmatier also as he's going off the ice. Jimmy Watson escorting Moose to make sure no further damage is done. Bad enough we lose Moose for the rest of this game, but we don't want to lose him anymore. There's a brilliant specimen making the head sign to Moose DuPont. You should check their penalty records in the league to see who's got the most this year. Tiger Williams. So as you said, Gene, Moose is gone for the rest of this game. Dorney over at the bench being looked at by Matt DiPaolo. Fred Shero looking on right now, and it'll be interesting to see what the calls are made on this deal. Tiger Williams coming off that bench, Don. I didn't see when he did make his move. Nobody else moved but Tiger Williams to come into that fracas.
He's been sitting on the top of that dasher across the way all during this situation, and apparently when DuPont came off that penalty bench, that's when it went up. Well, they got a 5 up there for DuPont plus a game. Five fighting and a game misconduct. And Pellick gets a 2-minute minor for roughing.
Just showed a picture of Dorney on the bench. He's sitting up now and a bit of a grimace on his face, which he rightfully should have. And you know he's got to have a big lump on the back of his head at the very least from that clout that he made. Joey Watson not very happy either. So I guess Palmateer gets out of that one scot-free for what he pulled with the referee standing right there looking at it, Don. And I guess I better let you take over for a minute because I might say something I'll regret in a minute.
Well, as I said, in a situation like this with a series of playoff competition where every game and every period is a very important series, you got to wonder that Mike Palmateer now might be the target of any one of the Flyers that benches close to him, and I would have to think from a player's standpoint they've got to keep their cool.
You just said it, Don. In our out-of-town scoreboard right now, Buffalo has a 1-0 lead over the Islanders. And you mentioned Palmateer being a target. As much as you'd like to get a piece of him, Don, you said it, when you're down a goal, you've got to sort of keep your cool, wait for the right time, the right advantage to make your move whatsoever. And right now we have to get a goal to get back in this game. As you said, Moose DuPont got 5 for fighting and a game misconduct. Pellick got 2 for roughing. And we're still milling around down there. The faceoff be to the left of Palmateer in the Toronto Maple Leaf end zone.
Of course, Palmateer has got a bit of a reputation with that stick and with his fists as well. The last game at the Spectrum, which the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Flyers 4-2, Palmateer had a very interesting session with Paul Holmgren. Okay, Gene.
All right, they're going to play 5 aside for 2 minutes, and then when Pellick's penalty is over, the Leafs have already gotten a lead in this period on a power play goal by Salming after McDonald had tied it up just 2 minutes and 13 seconds earlier. We'll have an uninterrupted 3-minute power play as the major cannot be wiped out by a goal. This right now is the pivotal part of the game. Joe Watson in the slot flips it in on Palmateer, who makes an easy glove save as Joe really tried to unload it quickly while he was being pressured by Ashby.
Coach Red Kelly behind the bench, making his line change right now, sending out some fresh troops out there. Referee Bruce Hood saying he waited too long to make his move. But no more delays, so he sent the 2 fresh fellas back off there. Number 12, Errol Thompson, and number 10, George Ferguson, will have to return to the bench.
Salming and Turnbull out. They've got Ashby with Neely, and the Flyers go McLeish with Leach, Bladen, and Joe Watson as the puck comes to center ice. Tom Bladen has to chop it down, blocked off by Salming at the Leaf line. Charged by Bladen. Here comes Leach over the line and drives. Score! From the right wing circle as Salming makes a blunder and the Flyers burn him.
Well, the rifle has finally found the mark, and Terry, the other night we said that if both Leach and McLeish start finding that range, look out.
2 good signs right there. Reggie Leach back to his old form, down the right wing where he used to be, top of the circle, and there comes his slap shot right through Palmateer, through the 5-hole. Red Leach got good wood on it and ties this game up at 2-2. Tommy Bladen making a nice play. I'm not sure where number 2 Turnbull was going. I think he was moving out of the way to let Palmateer get a look at that puck when Reggie was winding up. He moved out. So Reggie gets his first playoff goal, 11-21, to tie this game at 2-2. We're back in the ball game, Gene.
All right. They'll play again 5 aside for another minute and 43, and then the Leafs have that all-important, uninterrupted 3-minute power play. All right, that will be Leach from Bladen at 11:22. The game tied, up ice, puck given away by the Leafs to Leach. Back to Joe Watson on the near side. Flips it down the ice, and they've got Leach on the breakaway. He's going in. and with the whole play is offside, so forget it.
Smart play by Reggie Leach, Dom. When he heard that whistle go, he was winding up, just got out of the way of Palmateer, was charging out at him.
It's a wonder after what happened between Palmateer and Dornhofer that Reggie didn't let it go anyway.
When you got ahead of steam like that and he's busting out on you, all you need is one slip. If he had tripped Reggie and Reggie collides with the net behind one of those post-its, as we mentioned earlier, Don, we got to keep your cool, take your chances, pick your spots, and when you get your spots, make the most of them then.
So spoketh Gordie Howe many years ago. It may take me a lifetime, a career, but anyone plays at less than legal with me, I'll get him. Tracy Pratt seeing his first action of the playoffs.
Minus the headgear he might have worn to protect a very badly shattered nose. Joe Watson on the near side. Having trouble with Carlisle. Wants to get it up to Clark. Can't. Goes back to Ferguson. Right out in front. And it was tipped away from Errol Thompson by Bladen as Lonsbury carries it out the center. Over the line. Lets the puck roll through. And on Palmateer as the Leafs let him go. And then Thompson pulls him down. Clark in that corner. Tries to dig it out. He does. Hopped off by Carlisle. And here comes Ferguson going 1-on-2 against Bladen and Joe Watson. Now Thompson cuts through to the middle. Ferguson gets past Bladen down in the offensive left wing corner over skates. Bladen ties him up. Ferguson gets it behind the net to Joe Watson. Rolls it up here on the left side for Clark. Clark tries to poke it and does carry it past Carlisle to center ice. Through to Lonsbury over the line. He's got a man with him. Clark, the drop pass to Bladen. He's in. Shot blocked by Carlisle just to the side of the net, and Palmateer falls on the rebound. We've got 7:30 remaining in the second period. The score tied at 2.
Back here at Maple Leaf Gardens, an instance that happened during that last play in the Flyer zone between Lonsbury and Pratt almost erupted back deep in the Toronto zone, but Bruce Hood waved them both back to their benches because they were in the midst of a line and defensive shift, and back they went. So the face-off to the left of the Toronto net. This game tied at 2. 34 seconds left on Pelech's 2-minute minor for roughing.
And then there'll be 3 minutes remaining on the DuPont Major, and this game could very well ride on those specific 3 minutes as the Leafs, we said, uninterrupted power play, even if they score, because it's the Major. Now up ice comes Turnbull with Williams at the Flyer line, left wing, carries it around the boards, skips past Stevenson to the near side. Williams in there first, ties up the Flyers. It's kicked out in front of the net off Sittler and to Bob Daly, away to center ice. Hits Kindrachuk in the skate, goes into the Leaf zone, dropped back by Salming to Williams, who'll turn. And the Leafs will get their extra man in just 10 seconds with 7:05 left in the period. And now hang on, as here could be the whole hockey game. Sittler at his own line. Tries to get past Zaleski. Has him well wrapped, taken up against the boards. Now turning around is Salming with Williams. The penalty is over. Pelech is out. Williams over the line. Loses the puck. And Kindrachuk now starts out. Hooked by Williams. Puck kept in by Sittler. Oh, is he knocked down by Bob Daly? And that could have been very close to a cross-check. As now Turnbull flips it in, and the Leafs chase down behind Stevenson. Leaves it there for Jimmy Watson, and all he does is turn and flip it down the ice. Daly came up very high on Sittler, and we held our breath. 2.5 remaining on the Major to DuPont. Salming up ice. Fires it off the stick into the Flyer zone. Stevenson out. Tips it right past McDonald to McLeish. McLeish up to Barber. 1-on-1 against Turnbull. Over the line. He's got Daly on the drop pass shot, and Palmateer has trouble but smothers it in the goal mouth.
Palmateer very smartly was forced to tie it up, and with the forechecking pressure the Flyers put on, instead of him just turning that shot aside, Terry, he was forced to eat it, and that gives the Flyers a bit of a territorial edge with the face-off in the Toronto end.
Big count, Daly sitting down. Gene mentioned earlier about his stick coming up a little higher, but what may seem high to us is just normal for the big count when he holds it right about where he was.
That's got to be a detriment to him.
All right, now they've got an extra body out there. They've got Turnbull with Salming, and not Williams, but Neely, along with Salming and Turnbull. Here comes McDonald up on the right wing. Sittler breaks for the net. McDonald shot blocked behind the net. Sittler digs it out. He's got a man in center right there, Neely. Skips past him to the point. Salming dives, puts it in the corner to Sittler. Sittler centering pass for Neely, blocked off. Joe Watson up on the near side. Kept in by Salming. Inside turn, right out in front to Neely. Swept off a stick by Bladen. Bladen is going to try to unload it to the point. Kept in by Turnbull. His shot deflects off the near side, out to McLeish. He fails to get out. Leafs good pressure, but it does deflect out over the glass on the near side, and we'll get a face-off in center ice with 1:38 remaining on the Major to DuPont, who's gone on a game misconduct.
On that last shift, when Daly did come up a bit high, just prior to that, it appeared to me as though Dave Tiger Williams hooked one of the flyers. I think it was Kindrachuk trying to move it out of the zone. So it appears though maybe Bruce Hood's going to let a few things go both ways for a while.
So taking a peek at our bench, our fellows getting rested, and take a look at the scoreboard right here. Now we have 1:38 remaining in the 5 minutes to Moose DuPont. As Gene mentioned, he has gone for the game. 5:34 remaining in the second period, and we got us a 2-2 score on the go.
Well, with DuPont gone and LaPointe not seeing a whole lot of action, the Flyers, like the Leafs, are almost down to 4 defensemen, too. With 1:35 left on the face-off, it's taken by Jimmy Watson on the left wing at his own line, and he clears it down the ice. Interesting lineup as they take Williams off, and they've got Neely out there with McDonald and Sittler to get more beef in front. Salming through, over the line comes Sittler, cuts to the inside, feeds behind McDonald, out to the point. Salming, he's got Turnbull, but feeds behind him on the left circle. Turnaround shot in front, and McDonald just failed to tip home. Now Turnbull, Salming to the near side, up ice, cleared into center ice by Lonsbury, controlled there by Turnbull to Salming. Right wing pass to McDonald, he'll penetrate with Neely over the line. Right wing pass to Sittler. Beautiful turnaround set up to, here comes Salming in. Oh, he's shot wide as he appeared to have the net. From the left point, play off to the near side to Sittler, almost controlled by Lonsbury. Pokes it to the blue line, kept in by Salming. Into Sittler, top of the right wing circle. A shot blocked in front and cleared down the ice. Off Jimmy Watson to Clark, and he dumped it. 40 seconds left, and the Flyers that close to surviving a major 3-minute shortage. Here comes Salming out with Neely, Sittler, McDonald, and Pelech. The Leafs ice it, and that's what the call will be if Joe Watson gets there first. But McDonald does, keeping it inside to the left point to Pelech. It rolls into center ice, and Pelech can only do a safety play to jam it to the near side for Carlisle. Up ice, gives it away to Joe Watson. Watson through to Zaleski at the Leafs line, tipped back by the poke check of Ferguson to the Flyer line, where Watson and Bladen back and forth with 10 seconds left. They fire it down the ice, and a very, very dangerous situation is now 4 seconds from ending. Carlisle behind his net, right out in front. He loses it to Pelech. The Leafs scramble. Pelech away from Zaleski as Kelly comes out, serving the penalty. Pelech tied up in the corner by Zaleski. In comes Kindrachuk. He's jammed up by McKinney. Ferguson and Thompson are waiting on the outside of the foursome to look for the loose puck, but none is there. 3:45 remaining, and we got a turmoil.
Another board meeting in the corner on this one, Don.
Mr. Pelech again in the middle, as he's got Zaleski to his left and Bob Kelly to his right. And stepping in between, linesman Matt Pavlich and Willard Norris. We've got 3:45 left here in the middle period with a score. Flyers 2, Toronto 2.
I came to Midas to get Midasized.
Back here at Maple Leaf Gardens, face-off when play resumes will be in the circle to the left of Palmateer. Boreas Salming at the Toronto bench making a bit of an equipment adjustment.
We have an Islander score, Don. I'll give it to you in a minute. All right, 2-10s, Ferguson and Bridgman to the left of Palmateer, and Bridgman is dumped out, and now it'll be Holmgren is out with Leach, Bladen, and Joe Watson. Ferguson, along with Thompson, who's breaking past Leach, but Leach clears it back to his own line along the near boards to Joe Watson. Up looking for Bridgman, who slaps it past Carlisle, deep in the corner right of Palmateer. Carlisle is outskated by Bridgman, who takes it behind the net to Holmgren. Holmgren centering pass, broken down by Leach on the deflection near side. He tries to center, blocked off by the Leafs, and McKinney coming up at center with Thompson and Pelech. Pelech right up the middle with Thompson on his left. Bad pass to the Leaf winger, and Bladen tries to clear. Pelech keeps it in on the far side, rolls it in his offensive left wing corner. Now McKinney out in front, a shot blocked down by Leach, who comes out, tries to dump a pass to Bridgman, broken down by the stick of McKinney, comes 2-on-1 with Thompson. Thompson going right on in, a shot, save, rebound, and loose by Stevenson. Oh, boy, the Flyers have really let Stevenson hung up to dry a couple of times, but he's come up with a big play. Here comes Leach back. Over the line to the near wing. Wants to throw it in on the net. There's Holmgren in front. And he's knocked down by Turnbull, and we're going to get a penalty. And it's interference against Holmgren. And the Flyers pick up their 8th penalty of 12, and the Leafs will get their 6th power play opportunity.
This one comes at 17-17 of this, the second period. And again, that right arm of Bruce Hood, as was the case the other night with Bob Myers, was very slow to come up. And now it's Turnbull and Bridgman jawing back down at the Toronto end. Tripping against Holmgren, and on the series thus far for the big forward for Minnesota, his second penalty. The Islanders have tied up Buffalo 1-1 in the first period on a goal by Billy Harris from Brian Trottier. So what started out as a hard-nosed hockey game, good two-way action, has begun to slide over to a bit of a repeat performance of the type of hockey we saw a year ago between these same two clubs in the quarterfinals. With each game, and of course with the Flyers down 2-0, coming back to tie in the final 38 seconds, then win it in overtime in game 2, the pressures begin to mount. Toronto's Maple Leaf players as well as fans and press have said repeatedly that the Flyers are a better hockey team. They're the second best over the regular season, second only to Montreal, that they really haven't started playing their game yet. And now they're beginning to feel that sort of pressure.
Well, we've played 4 periods plus most of this one, and the Leafs are now in their 12th power play opportunity in this building, and they're 16th overall. Bob Daly winds it around, kept in by McDonald, cleared past Salming as it was not a good choice of plays by Daly from his own left wing corner, trying to go around the boards, looking to get it out at center. Now past Lansbury, the pass comes up to McDonald at center, breaks 3-on-2 with Sittler. Sittler holds at the line, but then goes in offside as McDonald was a little late in breaking the play. 2:20 remaining in the period. We're tied.
Holmgren with 1:37 to go on his tripping call. On the Flyers bench, Joe Watson across the way, taking a well-earned breather. And of course, with the Moose, Andre Dupont gone when the game misconduct, it's going to put that much more pressure on the Flyers' defensive core of the two Watsons, Daly and Dupont and LaPointe.
All right, cleared off by Jimmy Watson. He tries to ice, tied up in there by Williams. Puck controlled by Turnbull and Salming, up ice on the left side. Rink-wide pass for Sittler. He'll penetrate. Down into the right wing corner. Holds. Wants to set up in the middle. Blocked off smartly by Jimmy Watson. Now dug out by Lonsbury. Fighting for it with McDonald and Jimmy Watson for them. Lonsbury comes out with it and scales it down the ice. And he continues his superlative play in the playoffs. 1:10 on the Holmgren penalty. 1:50 in the second period. Score tied as McDonald back and forth with Salming, who comes out of his own end, up at the red line, up the middle. Rolls it into the far corner. Caroms out to Stevenson. Leaves it behind. A bad choice of plays as McDonald digs it out. Rolls it out to the left point to Sittler. Sittler holds. He's got 3 men at the point. Turnbull right up the middle. A drive. Save. Rebound in front. And McDonald couldn't get the shot. Just kicked it free to the near side. Holds. Back to Salming at the point. Looks through the slot. Here comes McDonald. A drive blocked by Jimmy Watson, who's in pain. Jimmy Watson hurting. Salming at the point. Now Watson trying to get in. Left wing corner to Salming in front. A score by McDonald.
Jimmy Watson still down on his right knee as he blocked that shot, and he is in obvious pain, is moving as best he can toward the Flyers bench, but the Leafs, striking by the power play route again, have gone ahead 3-2 on Lanny McDonald's 6th playoff goal, his second of the night. The Flyers can ill afford to dig that sort of a hole for themselves repeatedly. McDonald from the glove side, short side of McDonald, scores, and for the Leafs, their 11th power play goal of the series. 18:45 the time of the goal. Turnbull and Salming pick up assists, and it's again a Leafs 1-goal lead at 3-2.
All right, Dornhofer out for the first time since he got the headbang. Now Ferguson steals the play away from McLeish with a minute left in the period. The Leafs have had a big one. They trailed 1-0 coming in here. Now they lead 3-2 as they picked up 3 goals. McKenny steals it away from Joe Watson. He's got a man in front, right through the crease. As it was deflected by Stevenson to the far boards. Here comes Dornhofer at center. Comes through with McLeish over the line. Over to the top of the left wing circle. Down to the left wing corner. Finally taken off by McKenny. Barber digs it out. He's got McLeish in front. And he shot badly to the far side off the shank of a stick. Clayton tries to come out in front. He's spun around and held by Tiger Williams. Pellick tries to unload, but the Leafs, Thompson flips it out of the rink.
McLeish trying to pull the trigger before he really had the puck, drove it way wide, and you don't see Rick drive off the mark that often that wide. Face-off will be to the left of the Toronto net as we're down to our final 30 seconds here in the middle period. And, Gene, it would appear as though the normal power play outburst for the Leafs in the first period has now been moved to period number 2 here tonight. Jim Watson getting a bit of smelling salts to bring him around and clear his head, as that knee is still giving him severe pain as he blocked that hard shot just before McDonald scored that goal back at the Flyers zone.
In the 2 playoff series, the Leafs have scored against the Flyers 36 goals, 19 of them on the power play. Deep in the Flyers zone, Lapointe has trouble as McDonald skates off. Rick now looks up ice, plays to the open near wing. If it's touched by Kelly, it'll be offside, and it is. And we'll have the face-off back in the Flyers zone with 16 seconds remaining in a big second period for the Leafs.
Flyers got one, Flyers fans had one chance to cheer. That was on Leach's blast from about 40 feet out. But with McDonald standing right on the doorstep, a feed from Neely deep down the left wing, and that's the go-ahead goal at the moment. 3-2 Toronto.
That's 13 goals now for the McDonald-Sittler-Williams line, and this is the Leafs' 7th game, and they have a total of 35 points. They're averaging in less than 7 games 5 points a game, and this is why they've been tough. 16 seconds left in the period. Williams, Turnbull, Salming, McDonald, and Sittler out against Clark, Leach, Kelly, Jimmy Watson, or make that Lapointe with Bob Daly. Daly up at center. Left wing pass looking for Leach, broken down by Salming. Now McDonald turns Kelly around. They try to kick through at the Leaf line. That'll be pretty well it. With 2 seconds left in the period, we get a stoppage right at the near side penalty box.
2 seconds is all that remains as Lapointe came up a bit high on Lanny McDonald, and he took a bit of an exception right down below us. Just about enough time to drop the puck. 1 click of the clock, and this period will be history.
All right, Clark and Sittler at center ice, just a routine face-off. 1 second, and the bell goes to end the second period with the score. The Toronto Maple Leafs 3 and the Philadelphia Flyers 2.
Wire. Number 20, an all-star defenseman for the Flyers, Jimmy Watson. Just talking to Jim before we come on the air, and we were mentioning penalties. And Jimmy, you summed it up pretty good. What did you say about the penalties this whole series tonight?
Well, we got to respect. I think we got to show a little more respect for Toronto's power play. I think they've scored more than, over 50% of their goals have been on the power play, and we're taking all too many. Granted, the referee isn't the best, but we're deserving a lot of the penalties, and we've got to watch ourselves.
Jimmy, just a quick sideline. When we were in the gondola, we couldn't see what happened. Talking with Moose before we came in here tonight, Moose got excited when it happened to Dorney when Palmateer whacked him over the head with a stick. Moose turned around, saw Pelech sitting on him, got excited. Went after Pelech, thinking that he had done the damage. It was Palmateer. What was referee Bruce Hoods? He was standing right there looking at the whole incident, standing right beside the goal crease. Why did he not call any penalty on Palmateer?
Well, the old story, Crispy, I didn't see it, he said, so, what are you going to do? He's the boss, and he said I wasn't in a position to see it. He said it was a big scramble, and he never saw the stick come up, apparently. So, you can argue till you're black in the face, and it's not going to do you any good. We just got to get our act together. This by no means. We're in a good position. If I think we just get our act together and watch our penalties, we're going to win it.
Jimmy, you're playing on the left point tonight. You've got that number 7 all series coming down on you. He's some kind of a hockey player, Lanny McDonald. You know what he can do, what he's done to this whole series. How tough is he to play in a game like this, Jimmy? Do you have to respect him quite a bit?
Well, he's a heck of a hockey player, no doubt about it. He's very strong and he skates very well, and he's got a heck of a shot, and he's also got one of the best centermen in the hockey playing with him right now, Sittler. So, he feeds him pretty good, and McDonald shoots the puck so well, and he seems to, he goes for the openings very well. He knows what he's doing. He anticipates very well, and he can really shoot the puck. So you really have to keep, an eye on him at all times, and just try to play his body as much as possible.
With Moose out of the game right now, Jimmy, that depletes our defensive core down to 5. Freddie's not using young kid Lapointe a whole lot. We're down a goal, 1 period to go. How does that change your defensive strategy? I noticed tonight you've been coming up ice quite a bit. You've been charging a lot with the puck, trying to force a little more offense in their end. How will that change in the third period, or will it change?
Well, no, we really can't change that much, Terry. We get, like I said, we got 20 minutes and we only need 1 goal. So I think if we just wait our chances, we can't get running all over the place, open up too much. They're liable to score on us because they skate very well. So I think if we just play our positions, move the puck, and wait for opportunity, I'm sure it'll come. And we've got to stay back. We can't get running out of position, but when the opportunity presents itself, we've got to go with it.
Jimmy, thanks for joining us very much, for giving us your views of the game so far. Join the fellas in the dressing room. Thanks a lot. Give us a tie, get us a win, back home thing to Philadelphia. Now we go back upstairs to the gondola.
All right, Terry, Chris, thank you. And Jimmy Watson, 3-2 the score. As the Leafs picked up the tying goal at the 4:03 mark. McDonald got his 5th from Neely, and Pat Boutet left all alone in front, and McDonald made no mistake on the goal. And then just 2 minutes and 13 seconds later, at 6:16, with the Flyers serving one of their 8 penalties, this time it was Bob Daly off for tripping Bob Neely. It was Salming from straight away celebrating his 26th birthday with his 3rd playoff goal, with Sittler and McDonald getting the assist. And then while the Flyers were just shy of having to kill off a major penalty to Moose Dupont, who also received a game misconduct for a little set-to with Mike Pelech, it was Reggie Leach banging one home, his first of the playoffs from Tommy Bladen. That came at 11:22, and the Flyers had it tied. They successfully killed off the Dupont penalty, but then Holmgren picked one up, and it was Lanny McDonald getting his second of the night at 18:15 with the assist going to Salming and Turnbull. So Salming has a goal and 2 assists tonight to celebrate his 26th birthday. Once again, the Leafs outshot the Flyers 12-10, 24-20 margin in that department. The penalties, the Flyers have 8 of the game's 12, and they've been burned on 2 of their 6 shorthanded situations. The score here is Leafs 3, Flyers 2, and our intermission activities will continue after this.
Don Earl back upstairs here at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens. The Phillies may have their parachute man. Of course, the Flyers have got their sign man. That's Dave Leonardi to my immediate right from Willingboro, New Jersey, a school teacher. You know, a lot of people, Dave, take sports all too seriously, and I've got a feeling that somewhere in the back of your mind you figured, hey, let's have a little enjoyment at the Spectrum during the Flyers games.
That's true. True enough, Don, true enough. We have a great time. The people in this section, if it's not a sign, we have a good time amongst ourselves, and lately we haven't been too happy there with the outcomes of the games, but the spirit of the crowd and the signs seem to bring out that enthusiasm, and it seems like I'm in character there, you know, as a sign man, not really myself, and I enjoy it. It's like a character of a Damon Runyon novel or something.
And of course, Dave now has become an international favorite, as he's now recognized here in Toronto after several appearances on Hockey Night in Canada, and who knows, you may be known clear way across the Dominion of Canada by now. But let's get into some of the signs and some of the histories behind some of the signs you brought with us here tonight.
All right, well, starting off with Selesky and Schultz's first year a few years back, and that happened to be, I think, the same year I got those seats down there. I believe this was one of the first signs that I ever made, and this was drawn up. It was very crude at the time, right there at the Spectrum bird and the little wings, and then on the flip side, of course, a bigger bird. How clever. But then I moved on to next goalie, which was something that I used to yell a lot at games, when a lot of times they would replace the goalie, and of course there could be the warm-ups, and then we'd come out and score a goal afterwards, and here would come the next goalie sign. Then I made that a lot larger, and well, we'll see how large in a couple of minutes. Going back to an early McLeish sign, this was one here, Tricky Rick, that I made, and now, of course, I use much bigger signs. I have a few, if the words are small, I have a few that are small like that, but...
Why don't you hold that one until we come back? Because
we'll
we've got to...
in suspense.
Okay, we'll keep them in suspense, and we'll be back to talk more with the sign man from the Flyers right after this.
WTAF-TV Channel 29, Philadelphia, a Taft station.
We're talking hockey with the famous sign man. He's become famous perhaps through his exposure here on television, maybe infamous, as we said a bit earlier, to some of the fans here in Canada who've seen some of the signs, and now has become an annual visitor to Toronto during the Stanley Cup playoffs. And we're talking about the history of some of the signs that those of you who go to the Spectrum when the Flyers are at home have seen perhaps many, many times.
Okay, and now the new Rick McLeish sign. Of course, he's had 49 goals this year, a lot at home, and Rick the Quick, and I'm thinking about patching over the QU with a couple other letters, an S and an L, Rick the Slick, and for a hat trick, change that to a TR, so it would be Rick the Trick. I try to economize as much as I can with the space and taping over the letters and using it. And a lot of people ask me how it seems as though I'm very lucky, which I am, to pull out the right sign at the right time. And fortunately, all the words are spelled right. I have the dictionary with me when I make the signs. But it just happens to be a little bit of luck, I guess, in timing and anticipation of the play. If McLeish is on the ice, I don't know if they can get this on the camera there, but there's a little tab up here, and so I know what the sign says. I have about 80 signs in the case, and it's a lot easier than hunting through them all. And if McLeish comes out, well, I get this one ready, and you know, I got another one ready if somebody else scores, and bingo, I just watch the play, and here we go.
Well, get a few signs ready as the Flyers get set for the third period as they trail 3-2. Dave Leonardi, thanks so much for joining us and for being our guest. These gifts for you.